Okay, so I have a draft that's loading up. I think I'm going to call this streaming for slackers. I will learn how to stream eventually, maybe. But yeah, this is. I want to do something different. Let me see if I can see how this looks if I blow it up a bit here. This will make it harder for me because I do like to scroll up and down to see who's available and whatnot. But actually, what I'm going to do prior to the draft here, this is a Yahoo fantasy mock draft. So I didn't say that right off the bat. I don't think I did. And yeah, I just want to do something a little different. I've decided actually I want to do, a couple different things, a few different things involving fiction and hockey. This is Hockey Unreal. And of course, Unreal Hockey can come in a variety of forms. This is one of them. This is fantasy hockey here for Yahoo. So I'm going to do a mock draft and we'll see how it goes, see if I get who I want. And I'll talk a little bit about hockey in 2022. So usually I play hockey that's, decades old. So I'm going to set aside some players, give away some of my secrets. If you're playing in a league with me, guys, who I'm hoping to draft a little late, who I think are undervalued and ranked too low. And this is probably nothing that you haven't heard on certain other channels. I know some of the same ones I've been following, like Fantasy Puck, Fantasy Tipped. So there's Braden and there's Brad. I think it's pretty well known by now that Marchand is low rated in Yahoo. I think if you can get him about... it's a 16-round draft. I think if you I know he's going to miss a couple of months thereabouts to begin the season, but if you can get him, I would say about 8th round or beyond, it's really good value. Some might even argue earlier. It'd be hard to argue against that, given his points per game, and he hits just about every category. And that's another thing, actually, that I'd like to change up here. So the 22-23 projected stats, I don't like using those. I like going by 20, 21, and 22 total. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, which I know in hockey doesn't apply necessarily. Father Time is undefeated, but I like going for consistent veteran players more often than not who've had long careers. With that said, Mangiapane, I think he's ranked too low. I'm going to just throw a couple wingers in the queue. This is actually something, I think, advice that I got from, that I picked up from Fantasy Puck about just having a lot of people in your queue. So worst case scenario, if you get into a time crunch and you just, you're nervous and pressed for time, you're going to get somebody at least that you want, maybe a little too early. I don't know why Scheifele goes as low as he does. I like to say death taxes and Scheifele point per game. I know he doesn't hit much, but I wouldn't call him a bad candidate. Anyway, I'm picking 7th. I might be zoomed in too much here, actually, because I don't know how I'm going to scroll up and down on this. I guess I can move this over. So that does put me at a bit of a speculative disadvantage here. So the first 3 to come off the board here, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Matthews, quite obvious. McKinnon, 4th. Sometimes he goes lower than that. Makar, 5th. Let's see here. Wonder if Kaprizov will go 6th. Wonder if Chase is auto picking. I find it funny actually when people auto pick. Yeah, they auto pick. No, they auto pick, and they obviously haven't worked it out in advance, and they get all the auto pick bait picks like Mark Stone and guys who shouldn't be ranked where they are. Anyway, for this one, I could go Kaprizov. Kucherov might have more upside, but I'm going to go with Kaprizov in his momentum. He's just so, if style points counted, right? He's so exciting. He's so outstanding. 107 points last season. Or 108 rather. I think anybody would be hard-pressed to get that. You could look at the history of the league, no matter the era, how many players can score this number of points or greater in seasons back-to-back. It would be surprisingly few. Sean is auto-picking. I don't mind, I was going to say about auto-picking, I don't mind auto-picking if, see, he's going to get Rantanen. And there goes Mika Rantanen. I don't mind it if people have worked out a list in advance. With that being said, a couple of times I've signed up for these mocks and then got distracted doing something else and just automatically wound up auto-picking. So I'd be a hypocrite to criticize too much. But, I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking it's mildly annoying when you get stuck with a bunch of auto-pickers. Because really it's no different than if Yahoo computer was... or if Yahoo is just taking players automatically. So I wanted to go in the middle. I kind of like being in the middle. Of course, you can't control it in the public league that you're in. I'm going to play public this year, 12-team. Confession, I have been a deadbeat GM a couple of times in the past. I'm an all-or-nothing kind of guy, and if I miss some moves early in the season or if I screw up on draft day, it's quite hard to get motivated to continue with my team. So Ovechkin is the final pick in round 1. That means Shesterkin, I was going to say, is still available, but it would change that to was now. If I can get a defenseman in the first couple of rounds, I'm going to cue Hedman here. And if I can get Hedman, well, then I will. Nope, Hedman's gone. Good pick. Respectable choice, solid choice. It's a little annoying. I have to scroll and not see the names. If Matt Tkachuk is still available, because my first pick was a left wing, so if I can... the Marner as well, I wouldn't scoff at Marner. Barkov taken 16th overall, so I am after Sean, and Sean will auto pick, so I have 26 more seconds here. I'm actually going to zoom out here again a little bit. Let's go back to, 110 at least, so I can scroll up and down. Brady Tkachuk, if I can try to snag him in the 3rd round. Marner, I guess Matt Tkachuk was taken. Matt Tkachuk, where was he taken at? No? Why don't I see Matthew Tkachuk? Why do I not see Matt Tkachuk? Ovechkin, Stamkos, Shesterkin, Hedman, Alexander Barkov. That is a little strange. Matt Tkachuk, he was drafted. Okay, Mitch Marner then, right wing. We'll go with him. Assist, plays with Austin Matthews, power play time, power play points. And right wing, I noticed especially, I'm dreaming, thinking I'm going to get Pasternak in round 3. But I'll have him and is Brady Tkachuk on? Yes, he is 19th. Even at 19th, that's a really good pick. There is sort of the consolation of Timo Meier, who hits every category well except for plus minus, and being in San Jose, that could be unlikely to improve next season. I like Svechnikov just because, again, he's balanced all around. I kind of like taking balanced guys, and then I don't have to worry late about drafting, say, a Radko Gudas or a Tanner Jeannot for hits, or somebody who takes a lot of shots for that. I like John Carlson if I can get him. And 30-something. I drafted 31 next. So Timo Meier, I'm assuming Pasternak went, yes, before Panarin. Pasternak's a really good pick. Right wing is really, I hear a lot of talk about, defense being limited, and I agree with it, and goaltending as well. And center, of course, is deep, so you don't have to worry as much about drafting centers right away. I'm happy, though, with Kaprizov and Marner being my first couple of picks. Marner, believe it or not, does not shy away from hits. He is almost a hit per game. He's projected to get less than that, but I don't know. And by the way, I'll use the hockey guy-esque term here. This is fun. This isn't scientific. I'm not working from projections like I know Fantasy Puck and I think Fantasy Tipped as well. They are. I just kind of, try to imagine, try to guess, because, again, not knocking those projections. I think that they are good if less fun, but they tend to play it a little safe, I think. I fully acknowledge, not really know enough about them to have too strong an opinion one way or another, but I think that, I've been looking at projections and players since they were, in print back in the 90s, and they operate off recency bias, and they tend to be a little safe. You don't get any dramatic increases or drops. And of course, every season, one of many intriguing things about an upcoming NHL season is that some players' totals will improve dramatically. Other players will drop off dramatically. So I'm picking here 31st for my 3rd choice. So I have Meier, Svechnikov, and Carlson queued. And I have some other players queued for later down. I have to add to that, actually, who I'm looking to get sort of in the back 9 or the back 8 in this case. So, yeah, Svechnikov just went. Okay. But you know what? I think Meier hit so many categories, though, and I don't have a defenseman yet. You know what? That's okay, though. I'm going to take Minor. I'm trying to say a couple of different names at once. I'm going to take Meier 3rd, and so now I have 3 wings, and I'm going to, I don't even want to, I'm afraid to say his name out loud. Somebody who's comparable stats-wise, but a little deeper, further down than John Carlson that I might try to go with here in round 4. 7 is normally about my favorite place to pick, right in the middle. 6th or 7th overall. I thought I'd go 7th for this. Chris Kreider, see, that's auto pick bait. Not that he didn't have an he had a fantastic season, 52 goals, and I think the truth could be somewhere in the middle with Kreider. I think maybe a draw, I think 28 was his career high prior to last season. So 52, that's just it's unrealistic to expect him to replicate or even necessarily come close to those totals again in back-to-back seasons. I still think that 30 to 35 could be like, I think the truth could be somewhere in between with Kreider next season. But yeah, I call that an auto pick bait pick. So let's see here. Vander Kane got good value for Kane. See, that's the thing. I have to fill up my queue with guys who are a little deeper down. So Burns hasn't been taken yet. Let's see. Thomas Shabbat. Heiskanen, I guess. Heiskanen. Who else? Trouba for hits. Trouba doesn't see power play time, though. Barring injury or whatever. Another guy who doesn't see much power play time, but decent numbers otherwise, and especially with hits, is Darnell Nurse. And also for centers too, Rupe Hintz, I think he's rated too low, or ranked rather too low this season, not rated. And then of course I think it's become known if you're following channels of Vincent Trocheck, and I really like Joel Eriksson-Ek. I think he's really well balanced, and I think that he could be his offensive numbers. I feel like this could be a little deceiving. He's such a talented forward, and I feel like he could even take another step offensively this upcoming season. I mean, because he kind of did last season too, 26 goals. And he sees some power play time. That's not unrespectable. Let me see. Do I have anybody queued near the top now? So who can I get for value here? I like Lindholm, but again, there are so many good centers available. Is it too early to take a goalie to take Ottinger? I'm drafting 42nd and I have 15 seconds. You know what? Tarasenko is tempting just because... No. Oh, yes, I'm going to have to. I'm running a time crunch. I'm going to take Tarasenko. So someone came off that I wanted. I'm surprised that Carlson fell to 41st. There he is too, Morgan Riley and Philip Forsberg, actually. So there you go. That was my first nervous time crunch pick. I should have taken, because Meyer can play on the right side, I should have taken Philippe Forsberg. If I could have a do-over here, I would take Forsberg over Tarasenko. I just think Tarasenko, again, I mean, not that he's not a good player, but right wing is thin. After Tarasenko, I think there's a pretty big drop-off. Some players will have similar points, like Nylander. Jasper Bratt had a breakout season last year. But in terms of being well-rounded across categories, because, again, Tarasenko will get you about a hit per game. He's going to be on power play 1, I would assume, going into the season, even though he's not rescinded his trade request to be dealt from St. Louis. And another thing, too, is maybe I'm stating the bloody obvious here, but two players who are, and if I can get Riley at 55th, because I don't have a defenseman yet, so if I can get Riley at 55th, I will be more than happy. Or Forsberg, for that matter. I want Riley and or Forsberg next, but they have to survive 6 more picks. Realistically, I don't think they're going to. Yeah, Tarasenko. I mean, I guess for fumbling and time crunch, I could do worse than Tarasenko, though. Again, like 83 hits. I think he played all 82 games or close to it. I have to double check on that. 22 power play. Plus, minus, not so good because, again, he's up against other teams' top scorers. But, pretty respectable bounce back for him. And, again, the projections, this is just basically like taking a D6 and rolling and either adding or subtracting. Very little variance there. I hope they're correct, actually. I would be okay if he ended up doing this. Obviously, you'd have to stay healthy. Yeah, Riley went. That's a shame. That is a shame. Okay, I have to load up then. Let's go Dougie Hamilton. That's not that I'm going to take any of these players in the 5th round, but I have to have some defensemen for sort of the next tier down. Ottinger, I wouldn't have scoffed at taking a little early either, but I think with this pick, just because I regret not taking him, if Philippe Forsberg is available, then I will take him. I also think that Tavares is going to have a better season. But yeah, I'm going to take Forsberg. That's kind of a stupid move, though, because already I've fallen to the bench. And I can't slot any of these guys in at center. But again, once the good wings are gone. So yeah, Lindholm is gone. That's a respectable pick pretty much anywhere. I don't want to queue Tavares. There's Nylander. Buchnevich, I mean, if he can replicate these totals. But probably I have to look to take a netminder next. Let's see who's still available. Okay. Tristan Jarry, Connor Hellebuck. Yeah, I would hope to get one or the other. Demko as well. I'm going to queue Demko, but I don't think he's available. Though I am up in 3-4 more picks here. So... Okay. Do I take Thatcher Demko? Probably very little competition, if any, for the starting position in Vancouver, so if he can stay healthy. But again, here I would go with, I think I can get Hellebuyck next round. I'm going to take Jarry in this round. This has been far from my best, but I knew that would be the case once I turned the camera on. The biggest mistake here is I should have a defenseman drafted by now, and I don't. So I'm really banking that Burns, and I've seen Burns be taken pretty early. I think he's going to have a monster season in Carolina, playing on that power play one. But basically from this group here, I have to take my defenseman. Although, actually, let me load up Noah Dobson and Evan Bouchard. Get those guys ready as well. Hard to sort my queue, but yeah, I'm not going to bother with it. I am up in 9 picks. Maybe I will. I don't know. I get so superstitious with this. Typical hockey fan here. It's like if I touch the player in the queue, that player will get drafted right when I touch that player. Georgiev. I think if you go team tandem, if you get Georgiev and Francouz both and just bank on Colorado having a really good season and both those goalies staying healthy, and or if one gets injured, the other one filling in full time, then I think that there's value in that. I would want the tandem though, because between Georgiev and Francouz, this could end up being a hot take that doesn't age well, but I have a sneaky feeling that Francouz could see again, provided he stays healthy, obviously, that he could see a fair amount of time and high number of starts if he remains uninjured. Anyway, probably have to go defense next. I don't want to. I want Joe Pavelski anytime that I can get him and he's still available. I know Dallas and I know he's old, but again, until he has that precipitous drop-off, I mean, plus 11 playing in Dallas last year. I mean, I guess they did make the playoffs, but 104 hits, over 200 shots. If, they get the Robertson situation sorted out and Pavelski, I mean, again, even if he slows down, well, he's getting 20 of these goals from, 2 feet away or less from the net. So, or he's tipping it anyway, one way or another. So, yeah, I could see him still doing that. Anyway, what do I take? I can't take Pavelski, so I got to take a defenseman. I think Burns is the most upside. I think there's other picks might even be a little safer, but I really feel, I don't know. Actually, wait, did Hellebuyck go? The answer is yes. Okay. I'm going to cue Binnington up then for my backup, but I'm not going to, but again, I'm going to hope to get him lower down and hope that, there's with Husso out of the way, I just hope that Binnington plays like playoff Binnington. So anyway, don't throw water over that pick. Let's go with Burns. Yeah. Because, again, between Shabbat, Dobson, sometimes when you see a pack of players, defensemen that are comparable, and you can bank on, of 3 or 4 of them that you think will perform similarly, and just hoping that not all of them are drafted. So Burns, definitely high at, 79th, but so far I have Kaprizov, Meyer, Marner, Tarasenko, Brent Burns, and Tristan Jarry and Philippe Forsberg. I could do worse. I could do better, but I could do worse. Samsonov, if I can get him late, I have a feeling he will overtake Matt Murray this season. Again, with all the added, provided that he stays uninjured and isn't in Sheldon Keefe's doghouse for any reason. A couple seasons ago in Washington, he really looked like one of these, one of the guys who would take over, paralleling Sorokin in Long Island. But I don't know, it hasn't blossomed. Francouz, if I can get him late. I've thought about Vanacek. I've taken Vanacek in a couple of mocks. Another late pick that I like for net is Linus Hallmark. Rasmus Dahlin. Be interesting, actually, this season. Really, plus minus was his only bad category last season. So Marchessault is a really good pick, I think, because he's so balanced, but not at 85th. I have to respect Dobson being taken at 84th. I queued him for a reason. Teravainen, he doesn't hit much, but everywhere else, other than, I guess, goals, respectable. In prior mocks, I've taken 1 or 2 of Pietrangelo and Theodore, but I think that there are candidates with higher ceilings and not necessarily that far lower floors who are further down. Shen is another one. He's not a choice to get excited over, but he does hit every category except for shots, at least reasonably well to good. Should I take another defenseman here? I have Binnington locked up for further down. 20 seconds. Goodness. Do I go Shabbat? Do I go... Bouchard's been drafted, hasn't he? No, he hasn't. What am I, 90th right now? I have too many wings already. You know what? Oh, point's been taken. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to crunch here. I'm going to take Shabbat then. And just hope that Ottawa actually lives up to the hype. And that, so I have Burns and Shabbat here for 2 defense. I don't like getting into time trouble. I really, really don't. Because if I could dial that back, I don't know, though, Shabbat is going to be more the go-to quarterback for Ottawa this season than, say, Bouchard and Edmonton, where that could be dispersed a little bit with Tyson Barrie and also with even Darnell Nurse. You never know. Some special teams time, but I would not be surprised at all. I should actually have Bouchard ready to go next. I might have waited a little too long on a center, though, and a backup goalie. Because if Jari gets injured, I'm losing 4 of 10 categories a week, pretty much by default if I don't get another good netminder. So anyway, Evan Bouchard, you might be my guy, but I don't draft until 103rd. Bouchard ranked 110th. I'm pretty sure he gets taken earlier than that. His average, if I go to defenseman here, Bouchard probably gets taken prior to 100 on average. No, 104.5. Still. Heiskanen. Let's see who else I like here. A little further down, Justin Faulk is still available as like a 3rd or 4th defense option. Lindholm until McAvoy gets back. Sergachev, not outstanding in any category, but, respectable hits at least. And you never know, should Hedman get injured and Sergachev could step up and see that man advantage time. Jeff Petrie, ditto. I don't like banking on injuries, though. Petrie obviously will play into Pittsburgh's lineup more prominently if should Letang get injured, but of course Petrie should see an uptick, an improvement, a bump in his stats despite his age, playing with Pittsburgh anyway. So Bouchard is still available. Did Binnington get drafted? No. Still 103rd. I'm going to go, I think, Bouchard if he's available. Shen, Bennett, Bouchard, yeah. And then maybe hope to get Rope Hintz a little further down. Although, with the type of defenseman I have, I might even want to round it out with Trouba just to get some more hits in the lineup. Yeah. No, balanced. At the end of the day, go balanced. Bouchard. I'm going to highlight him here. 3 picks away from getting Bouchard. Here's my round 9 choice. Okay, quick. Let's go Bouchard. I hope this is low. If he's playing on a power play with the likes of McDavid, Draisaitl, then how can he not do better than 10 power play points? Again, that's his projection. He had only 7 last season, but Tyson Barrie would have been on the power play 1 unit. Okay, he's available. So for all the talk, I think I have to take him now. So Evan Bouchard. Still haven't taken a center. 9 picks in. Rope Hintz. But again, you've got Trocheck in New York. He should have an outstanding season. You have Rope Hintz. Eriksson Ek is who I meant to mention. I would be surprised if both are still available in and around at the time that I would like to take them, though. Sam Bennett, I don't know if I believe... I believe a lot of the hype. I don't know if I believe all of it offensively. Florida just has so much depth. And they brought Matt Tkachuk in. Even with Huberdeau going out, it could... I don't know. It could come down to chemistry. It could... Variety of factors there. Darnell Nurse is still available. So it's what I was saying about hits with Trouba, and I assume Trouba's been drafted. Yep. Bergeron. I think Bergeron's auto pick bait. Anyway, that's Sean. We'll take... Who took Bergeron, actually? And again, I'm not scoffing at people who just, play hope chess with this and auto pick and just hope to get a good team. Though it's kind of weird for a mock, but again, I've done it myself a couple of times. Short attention span, get distracted. And sometimes as well, I think it's as a reaction. If you notice that pretty much everyone else is auto-picking. So Darnell Nurse went. I'm 114th. I don't have a second goalie yet. So where's Binnington? Did he get taken? Oh, shoot. Did Binnington go? 19 seconds. Binnington is still there. I don't know why I didn't see him in my queue, but I'm going to take him just to be safe. You need 2 goalies. Hopefully Binnington will play like 2020 or 2019 and prior. That sounds like a lot of hope, actually, now that I utter it out loud. Rope Hintz next if he's available, because I don't have any centers. Actually, let me isolate center. Dubois, it's weird. This is a case, I think, of someone who, again, this is more, I mean, not outstanding offensively, and I feel like he has kind of a low ceiling in that regard, but still over 100 hits, over 200 shots. Will see some man advantage time. So it's hard to say how far he should fall. But I have Bennett. I have Braden Point was taken earlier. Hurdle as well, actually. Again, every category other than plus minus. These are the kind of, like, you know, Matty Benier. I know that some people will take a flyer on them. Actually, I'm a hypocrite because I think Lafreniere is going to finally break out. So maybe Beniers will also. I would love to see Barbashev replicate that, but I don't know if he can. Mind you, I think Barbashev is immensely talented. I love watching him shut down star players on opposition. Anyway, so yeah, there are a lot of these guys that I like, but they're just not fantasy friendly. Like a lot of players I'm a fan of, and I love him no less for it, but I'm not taking Paul Byron. Number 41 could figure into a future video here in the near future. Number 41 in some form or other, but it's not going to happen here. No, not even in the 16th round. Okay, Alyssa takes Charlie McAvoy. That's, yeah, I understand that. That's thinking ahead. That is a chess move pick. Because you can put him on IR. And, because again, I mean, the mock, you're trying to simulate, you're trying to imitate, you're mocking. You're imagining if this was real and you were really picking. So what defense do I still have queued? Faulk, Lindholm, and Petrie. Maybe Faulk if I can get him if he's available. Although, no, I did say Hintz. Hintz is still there. Yeah, I'm going to go for Hintz next if Hintz is still available. I didn't do too well here. Forsberg was just a regret pick. Because, again, I could have had Meyer and Marner on the right side and then Forsberg and Kaprizov on the left. Tarasenko could have been either a defenseman or maybe a better goalie. Like maybe a safer goalie option than Binnington. Might be a bit more of a volatile pick. Hope I'm wrong. Anyway, Rope Hintz. Get him. Which probably means I've lost out on Justin Faulk. Because he's being taken like 117th on average. This fluctuates a bit. 118.9. Hampus Lindholm is consolation. Jeff Petrie. See, I like Petrie as like a number 5 with possible upside. I've also eyeballed Matt Dumba in prior practice mocks. Gudis for hits if nobody else wants. Gudis is a good number 5 option. Actually, my favorite number 5 is probably Josh Morrissey, who did overtake Neil Pionk for that power play 1 spot in Winnipeg by season's end. So, which has no bearing, no saying in that continuing into the following season, but if it does. But I like Faulk because even though he's not on the power play much, decent shots, good hits. If he can get close to that plus minus again, they're projecting 33. Again, not that I follow projections. And this is kind of steady for him. He put up similar when he played in Carolina, kind of 10-ish goals, 40-ish points per season, in and around there. So again, reliable, consistent. You kind of know what you're getting with Justin Faulk. I like that. You know, you can have some swing picks. I like Hurdle, but a little later. For some reason, people don't like to touch him early. Mark Scheifele's been drafted. I've seen him fall pretty far as well in some of these mocks. At 138th, let's see, I have 2 net minors already. I've seen Gudas go. I think his average is 133rd that he goes. 133, I think. Yeah, 136. Wow. So I'm just slightly off with all of these numbers. I get Barry late. Carlson, you're obviously banking on a bounce back. I have a feeling Ben might not be picking live. Either that or he's a San Jose fan. I've seen him in other mocks. Anyway. Can't really tell from that avatar size. Maybe I shouldn't assume that Ben is a male name. You never know. I actually like some historically male names when they're given to females. Like I think Charlie is a cute girl's name. Anyway, Who do I take? I'm not going to actually seriously take Gudas, am I? Another center? Oh dear, don't get into time trouble. You know what? Let's go with Gudas and have some fun. What is that? 139th? He's taken, or 138th? Because Faulk was taken right before. So Gudas, I don't like him as defenseman number 4, but I would consider him defenseman number 5. I think Morrissey is a number 5 defenseman who's good enough to be a number 4 defenseman. I already have 5 wings. So really where I suck most is center. That's where I suck most. And Thomas Hertl, a 30-goal scorer, if that can be my number 2 center, if he can get 100 hits or near to it, and, repeat his 200 shots. Hallmark, actually Francouz is a number 3 goalie option I love so much, I might even go for that. And I do like Mangiapane and or Lafreniere, but because I have 5 wingers already, maybe this is where I discount Mangiapane, much as I might not want to. I've heard some really optimistic projections on him. I'd temper those some. I think he'd be doing good just to even replicate this. These numbers here, his 21-22 season numbers, were already a significant breakout for him. It's hard to break out, I think, and then break out from your breakout. I think it's hard to not that players haven't done it before. Sebastian Aho comes to mind, actually. 40-some points his rookie season, and then 60-some, and then became a point-per-game player. So it is possible. So Alyssa here really likes to deliberate, unless Alyssa has left. Oh, Francouz, see there. I can't say that that's anything other than a respectable pick. So my third goalie then's probably falling to Hallmark. Hallmark on average is taken 147th and 151. I look at that too, the ADP and then the value consideration. Again, I know there is no really one criterion I think that you can use. You kind of have to go back and forth. I guess maybe for a 2 and 3, I'm just going to look at between Hertl, Bennett, Eriksson Ek. Trocheck got taken, didn't he? Did he? Trocheck went. Petrie's gone. Where did Trocheck go? Well, he's gone. Anyway. Trocheck is not there. Or at least he isn't in my... Wait. TROC. Yes, he was taken 129th, actually. Taken a while ago. I just didn't notice. So, a lot to pay attention to. I don't know if I want to go with the number 3 goalie. Actually, yes, I do. I know some would only take 2 goalies, but you know what? Hallmark. Boston, even if they... I think Boston's going to be either slightly in or slightly out of playoffs this season. Either way, I don't think they will be terrible. So again, Hallmark, should Jarry or Binnington get hurt, and I just want to still be able to compete in 4 goalie categories. So I will elect for a number 3 there. And Hallmark and Hertl, Eriksson Ek, Morrissey. Nobody was taking him in earlier mocks, and I feel like maybe some scuttlebutt about Morrissey has come out that I get it, he's playing in Winnipeg. They're coming off a disappointing season, but this is where, again, here's a hot take that may or may not age well. I really feel like Morrissey can significantly improve offensively. I've thought that for a few seasons, though. I remember actually, I'm going back to like 2019 now, Dustin Buffling getting hurt and Morrissey kind of having to fill his skates. So, going back to a guy who's now retired, but just, not that I get to watch every Winnipeg Jets game, but you see it. I think you see it in spurts from Morrissey. And if he's given more opportunity, I know Winnipeg also has Neil Pionk. Somehow this came over to my team. I don't know what I did, what I clicked on. I guess I just clicked on teams. So Jari, Binnington, Allmark, Gudis. Morrissey's got to be my number 5. Do I take him 162nd though? Yes, I do think significantly more reliable than Matt Dumba, who I think also could perform a lot better than, he missed time last season, and I do think he could it's almost like they're projecting him to miss more time. I'm pretty sure he missed some time last season. I'm not going to search for it right now because I don't want to get too distracted, but I think he could significantly outdo what he's projected to do here. So, even if I was streaming this, not of the slacker, the 4 dummies variety, you might not be able to see and read this all that well anyway. So I have still in my queue. I'm going to take Dumba away now, so I have 5 defensemen. So I have Mangiapane, Lafreniere, Eriksson Ek, and Thomas Hertl. See, again, Hertl, he's ranked 123rd. You can argue whether or not that's too high, but we're getting down to 170 now. Watch Alyssa snag Thomas Hertl. Because if not, I would like to have... Again, you have a proven 30-goal scorer who's actually done it versus one who I would project. I wouldn't be that surprised if Eriksson Ek got, if he actually hit the 30-goal plateau or total in the upcoming season. Again, Mangiapane, if they're going to let him see, he just got taken. Who took Mangiapane? Grazza. Okay, so Hertl, and then hope for Eriksson Ek. Hertl, again, it's the upside and the ceiling versus the floor. I actually feel like Hertl might have a lower floor than Eriksson Ek, but a higher ceiling. So we'll go with Hertl. I know my center position there. Dumba got taken. I know my center position is at the breakaway. Okay, Slavin is the perfect. I think he's one of the best all-around players in the world. Jacob Slavin on defense. Yes, I said it. He really is. He's just one of the best hockey players on the planet today overall. But he's not fantasy friendly. So I'm going to go with Tomas Hertl. But I have seen Slavin in some Hurricanes games where I thought he was the best player on the ice, whether or not he even registered a point. I don't think there's an advanced stat that can quantify this, but he wins shifts. Slavin will win just about every shift that he's on. It doesn't matter who his line mates are, who he's paired up with defensively. He played a lot last season, actually, with Tony DeAngelo. So some disrespect meant to Tony DeAngelo, but it basically means that, I almost said Trouba, wow, another Jacob. It almost basically means that Slavin was playing like 1.5 defense roles on that defense pair. He was like 1.5 defenseman, if that makes any sense. So for my final pick, let's just go with Lafreniere for the... Oh, no, wait, I need a third center. Yeah. Again, this is where reliability trumps. I really think he's going to break... And he's not that bad anyway. 108 hits. He could take more shots on goal. I guess he saw a shift or 3 on the power play. Power play 2, I'm assuming, with the 2 power play points. But I don't know. I think this is meek. This is low. Again, this is taking a D6 and just rolling it against his prior season's totals. Stop pretending to be so scientific. I still am Eriksson Ek. If this were real, I would take Eriksson Ek in this position. So, again, I'm not great at center, but I feel like I'm not terrible either. I have Hintz, Hertl, Kaprizov, and Meyer on left wing. I like that a lot. Marner and Tarasenko. Again, that should be Forsberg. So maybe I would consider Tarasenko to be my wing number 5. And my top 4 wings to be Kaprizov, Philippe Forsberg, Mitchell Marner, and Timo Meyer. Those are my top 4 wings. And then speaking of San Jose players, current and former, Brent Burns there. Thomas Shabbat. Again, the floor could be a little low for him, but the ceiling could be pretty high also. Obviously, provided that he stays healthy. Ditto Bouchard, actually. And I don't think the floor would be all that low for Bouchard now that Edmonton's seems to finally have taken that next step and hopefully are secure in doing so. Remember, Edmonton also almost went to the semifinal in like 2017, and then they were projected to repeat it, and they didn't make their way back for another 5 seasons. So this is my team here. Again, I could have done better, but I also could have done worse. I don't know if I will upload this or not, at least not to be consumed publicly. I might do another one like this, and... But anyway, if this one ends up seeing the light of day, and if you've listened to this point, thank you. And also, what do you think? I'm admitting, again, that I could have done a better job, but what have I overlooked? What am I missing here? Who am I a little too high on? Who do you think I'm a little too low on? Who do you think is going to have an awesome campaign this season. Again, there's going to be some really mercurial, uprising is not the right word for it, but there's going to be some really sensational seasons, I think, that we won't see coming for reasons both good and bad. So who do you think is likely to have an excellent campaign, and whose season do you think might actually be excellently bad, if that's a thing? All right. Bye for now.